Hello everyone, No Respawns here, hope you're doing well. So I wanted to do an update on my player home mod, because it's not done yet, it's about 65% complete. And I said I was going to give you a quick tour of the work in progress, and here it is. So basically, the reason why it's not done is just because it's a lot more of a bigger project than I was expecting. As any mod dev will tell you, the fact that I thought I'd be able to do this in 1 week was a little bit naive. However, I've been really enjoying the entire process. Most of it's, as you'll see on the outside I haven't really touched at all, but I've done quite a lot on the inside. And I'm quite pleased with the way it looks. It's really kind of coming together. The most time-consuming part for me has been making all of the items static, because basically every single kind of loose item that you can kind of move around, especially like food and ammo and stuff, I've had to make static versions of, which takes a while. And also because these houses are quite large on the inside, they're quite open, it's quite difficult to kind of get a solid use of space. I'll show you what I mean. So basically I haven't actually touched the outside at all. I'm going to do that last, but the idea with the outside is to kind of add a few more bits of character. You'll see what that's a word with explaining. I want to look a little bit different, but subtly changed. Also, I don't know about the windmill. The power source will work, and I will have it, but I just haven't decided what. I was thinking of maybe shrinking the windmill, having like a couple of like small ones, maybe. So it's like a kind of tiny wind farm, but I'm not too sure. And it's a pop inside. So also the lighting needs a lot of tweaking. So just as an FYI, cool. So basically everything is now static. So I'll just give you a quick tour. So here it is so far. Now, as I said, this will look a lot different. It's 65% complete. So, for example, currently right now, it's still quite open. And some of the junk is a little bit haphazard in its decoration. I've kind of placed it there so I can visually place the item down rather than actually organising it. And there will be a lot more quirkier bits around when it's actually finished. But ostensibly, oh, bit of a weird glitch there. I don't know if that's on my end or it's actually the mod. So this is the where we're making the chems. Obviously, I quite like the way that area looks, actually, bar. I want to actually make the workbench look a little bit more unique. This is where meat is harvested. Here's the fridge. Looking pretty nice. Fridgy. That'll eventually be a custom container for food. Here is a sink full of water. I still have to tweak that because that doesn't work properly. So it doesn't irradiate you, but currently right now when you try and fill up a bottle, it actually turns into dirty water. So the kitchen I've barely touched. That will be a lot better looking. For example, I have pots and pans hanging up and shit like that. I want it to look like it's made within the game, but also kind of like you can tell that it's made by, you know, it looks more personal. This will eventually be an actual functioning cooking station. Nuka-Cola machine. Just for the record as well, though I did think about doing things like making this so it gave you ice-cold Nuka-Colas, I'm not going to do that because I don't want this house to give you any advantage. It's completely visual. The water I was okay with by dint of the fact that you can literally make a water pump straight away, more or less, by just scrapping one of the items. So effectively it isn't really law-breaking for me. I did this shelf last night, took a while. I actually quite like this shelf. It's a good shelf, solid shelf for that. There are weapons, going to be weapons around. You won't be able to pick them up, but they're there. And this is the room I've probably done well, actually no, it isn't, because I haven't done the bathroom or the closet at all. And there's my other shelf. That one needs a bit more organisation, I think, because it's a bit haphazard. None of the power works at all. So the corridor I haven't done at all, and the bathroom I've literally not touched. And here, which will be a storage room, I haven't touched. I'll do my bedroom last. So Sean's room is probably the hardest room to decorate, and this will probably look a lot different when I'm finished with it. Ostensibly, I just want it to look like your character, either Codsworth or your actual character, is kind of expecting Sean to be home at any time and is kind of like lovingly looked after his room. But I found it really difficult. Like, for example, I was thinking of going quite pre-war, but I might go post-war. I'm not too sure because it is a little bit bold. Also, if I do use the pre-war bed, I ideally would like it so you can actually spin this mobile, but I'm not too sure. I've actually removed the other Sean's bed, so for example, there's no, you know, clicking on it and I'm coming for your buddy, but if I can't get this working, I'll probably put that back in and re-enable it. But this is probably the work in progress. This is the room that's going to take the longest to get the way I like, I think. This is my bedroom. This is the one that's nearly finished. I'm really pleased with the way this looks, and this is the one I probably spent the most time in. Kind of like all of the junk is quite I took a long time positioning, so this is my desk. I'm really pleased. That computer will work. Got a nice little thing here. There's still stuff. There's still space, you see, on these shelves. Got my little board of notices. My little shelf. More shelves. And here is the bed with Teddy. And a bobblehead stand. But you can see I've still got to do that wall there. That wall there. Decorate in there. And then probably just maybe put a few more bits and pieces to kind of add a bit more life to this room. But it's probably my favourite room so far. I really like... I just love the way, you know, just visually this looks really cool. But there's still some changes I want to make. So overall, the area is doing quite well. I'm going to do a few more things outside. So let me explain to you how the outside is ostensibly going to look. So I want to kind of add a couple of bits to the walls to kind of make them look like they've been changed. But I've got a couple of ideas, but they're a bit vague. I'm deciding where to put the doghouse. I don't know why I can sit in that. That's a bit weird. The reason being is normally I've always had it right here. The problem is if you have it right here, dog meat always blocks the door, and as you noticed I blocked over the other door, so it may be a better idea to move it somewhere else. I'm gonna have a couple of small fences, I think, not these ones, probably the wire fences, and maybe kind of a wee garden, but I don't want it to interrupt with Codsworth's start of game pathing at all, so I have to kind of be aware of that. And then the power, as I said, I've got a few ideas. I do like the idea of making kind of like a small little wind farm, because I could potentially use those of you who have gone on the what they're called, those highways, the bridged highways, you've got those giant gunner ones. I was thinking maybe of like shrinking them down and having like a little wind farm over here or something. The food isn't actually connected yet, so you can technically harvest it and you can set people to work it, but it doesn't actually add food to the to the actual settlement. That takes a second to do. I just haven't got around to doing it. And there'll be lots more kind of plant pots and a bit more life, because there's no junk decoration at all. And then here again, I really don't like the armor workbench. I think the shape of it always annoyed me, especially this stupid barrel. So I'm probably gonna. The aim is to have a custom armor workbench, and I'll probably just do it for the others as well, because, you know, for consistency. With the exception of the power armor one, which I prefer this one, so that'll stay the same. And what else? I'm thinking of maybe having a grave for your partner, but I don't know where I'm going to put that. See, because normally when I do the settlement, and the plan is usually I have this back area completely, like, you can't get here. Like, I usually have the wall starting from here, but maybe I might do you a little back garden, potentially, because I want things like, you know, like a kind of grave for, well, in my case, Nora, but if you're, you know, I'm playing as a woman, it's Nate. So yeah, there's quite a few things I want to add. It's definitely a work in progress, but it's about 65% complete. I pretty much made most of the items static now, so that was the most time-consuming thing. Weapons are confusing, though, because you have to use the load screen weapons for the most part, because if you try and make normal weapons static, it takes all their mods off, and I don't know how to add mods onto a static weapon, and that's not an external asset. So anyway, it's all fun, and also just generally like the space, because as I was mentioning, because this is quite an open area and it's quite big. So if you just, one second, if you look at my room, this is nice and compact, so it was easy for me to kind of make use of the space, and that's why this was the one I did the most of, and I did early, because I really liked the way it looked. But like the kitchen especially, it's like it's quite open, and I don't want it too packed in here, which is why, for example, I'm probably not going to put a table in. But for me personally, because I want this to be perfect, I'm having to kind of like really obsessively plan how this is going to look. But anyway, yeah, this should be up next weekend. I think that's pretty comfortable. I don't think there are any errors. I'm going to send it to a couple of friends over the various platforms. I was getting foggy. To kind of so they can have a look and test it out, but I've tested it on PS4 briefly and it works fine. I did have a little bit issue with a bit of lag, then I realised it was because I had actual light sources for all of these Christmas lights, which was a terrible idea because the frame rate plummeted. But anyway, yeah, guys, I won't have a build video up because I'm going to do more of this today, I think, but I will have a build video up next week. As always, follow me on Twitter at norespawns. Keep an eye on there because if you're wondering where it'll be, I'm constantly tweeting out information surrounding this mod. So if you're curious, just go onto my Twitter and have a look-see or pop me a question because it said it should be. I'm pretty much confident it should be up this time next week. Anyway, you guys enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll talk to you lovely people soon. You take care.